Okay, so let's dive right into this comical analysis of Sugarmade. Okay, so what we're looking at here is just some trend lines. Anyone who's traded this stock as far back as the beginning of the year knows that for the most part, um, this has just been on a downward spiral. You know, there's just anyway, trending down, trending down, trending down. But what has happened here just recently with the Bud Cars development and then hiring Tiger Global Management, it seems like things are starting to behave differently according to just the daily chart, not looking into any other technicals. Like I said, this is a comical analysis because this is just not a stock that you would normally ever look at for any anything that behaves appropriately, just because it seems like it's been manipulated and intended to be driven down. But once we get down here, I'm starting to think that that was, well, at least, who knows how far back they had this planned. But at any rate, we got into a period of consolidation here, started breaking out here on the 12th. This is a 100% move, or at least it was if you were looking at it on Google. It doesn't look like quite a 100% move here. But at any rate, we've had some really good moves. Um, but once we did make it through this move and peaked out here on the 16th, I just had noticed, looking at the chart that's posted on the Sugarmade, message board site, that it looked like something was taking place. So that's where I pulled this up on TradingView and found, over here on the 19th of February, starting the trend line down, that it did follow it. It was doing very, nicely, just trending down, keeping that as a resistance level. Once it broke it here, no problem getting out of that. And, uh, I hadn't drawn this line yet. I just saw this first line and just had this left up on my computer. Just when I'd open it up to Sugarmade, this line was there. And so we came over here to the 16th, and I thought, wow, that's a little interesting. It's looking like we're really going somewhere with this stock. And so uh, drew this trend line here once we pulled back. um, I wanted to see if it was actually following something. And so came over here. Let me shrink this down just so you can see how I can have kind of decided where that needed to start, just because there wasn't anything else relevant, you know, to fit it into. Okay, and so there was two peaks there, came across, and it's holding up real nicely according to this trend line as a support level. Came down based off of it, pulled up, broke through it. But now because we had this peak here on the 16th, it was like 72 or 73 cents. Let me shrink this down again, just trying to make it where you're able to see what I'm doing here. So now we have this peak. So to the very next highest that we had going back on, what was that? The 11th of June, it's perfect to set up for what's taking place right now. And, you know, we broke through it and then came up and pulled back. But now, man, check it out how perfect this today is, the 6th. And so, I had been looking at this, I already had this up, and I'm like, wow, is this thing really gonna just keep following down? So I decided let's do a typical descending trend line here off of this high day, and just drew it out to here, stretched it out, and man, it's following down. It's just following these trend lines. And so all I wanted to do with this was basically point out that it's starting to behave according to the patterns that we would see when stocks are being traded on trend lines. That, the market makers can do that. Traders use trend lines, obviously. Market makers can use them. Trading algorithms, can use them. I have my suspicions is it's because we have a financial advertising marketing firm that is, investing their own money in this. It just looks too clean. This is starting to behave, you know, very uncharacteristically for Sugarmade. This doesn't look good. No one's liking that, especially if you bought up here. But I mean, look, we're getting down into this wedge right here. And so I'm thinking what we're going to do is just we'll maybe, break out of that. And once we get over on top of this, okay, yeah, I kind of missed over what I'm doing here. Why I'm seeing this as being something that is plausible is that it looks like there's, some manipulation, not saying that this is um, foul play, this right here. But what it looks like is they're not wanting to let this break out just yet because we have a lot of time in between the next financial that comes out. I don't remember what month it is, but we've got, more than 2 months, I believe. And so what it looks like to me is that once we break this trend line right here, then we can come back to this peak and draw, according to whatever the high of day is once we break over the top of that. And then we'll have another line to just kind of see if it behaves within the trend lines. But to go ahead and continue to do this all the way back, I feel like as far back as where we met 43 cents, I think, over here, that, man, I'm just speculating, totally speculating, but we're stair stepping. Something's happening here. Something is taking place, and it's like these are our moves. Certainly, we're not going to be up at 43 cents by the time that we're done. That is not what I'm saying at all. But I'm just thinking that maybe by the time that we reach our financial 10K, that we will be back there to that 43 cent starting point, high of day, and I think that's where they're going to let it take off. I mean, I really do. I think we're being held back. They've got too much time and good reports that they're able to continue to release according to the, revenue that Bud Cars is bringing in. And then, of course, as they're bringing in more revenue to open up new locations. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that this is starting to behave a little more according to, respect for patterns. And it just looks like this is a nice period of consolidation after this breakout here. I mean, this was like almost 200% of, where it was at down here. And so I think this is, to be expected. Um, but then also too, I kind of feel like it is really following this trend line, so much so that maybe it's being held back. Who knows? I have no idea. But anyway, I just wanted to show that to you guys to let y'all be aware that it looks like something's happening. So maybe you could start looking at the daily chart yourself and just see how this thing behaves and start to feel a little more confident about, what the potential is for this stock, or maybe see it as a red flag. To me, I don't think we'd have such a good strong move um, if this wasn't something that's actually just getting ready to take off. And so anyhow, that's my 2 cents worth. And hope you guys enjoyed my comical analysis of Sugarmade, and have a good day.